What's up, YouTube? The last time I was on here, I told you guys I would tell you guys where the Bulldogs were formed or came about. It's not like some of the stories out there that Fresno was putting in all the work for the North and the dudes from San Ho wasn't doing anything and Fresno got tired of it. Um, that's not the truth. That's what people were told when they were being pulled in. But for the longest time, way before my days, Fresno and San Jose always had a conflict with each other. Don't know if it was because one thought they were better than the other, one thought they were bigger and tougher than the other. But it's always been like that. I remember when I was 7 years old, we went up to visit family in San Jose. My brother was 15. He got jumped just because he was from Fresno. And I always knew that there was some kind of beef going on because a lot of the OGs used to come to my house and kick it around my house on my street. I'm 53, so when I say OGs, you guys know who I'm talking about. Well, they would come over, because my sister was with one of them and has kids from one of them. So they used to school me down on everything that was going on way before my time. So I know they told me around 1983, 84 that when dudes in prison from Fresno, when they violated the rules, they would get whacked. And the dudes from Fresno would be the ones that would whack them. Now, several occasions, the dudes from San Jose, the ones that violated the rules, they would be given passes. So there was some favoritism going on. It's always been like that. So at this time, there was a lot of conflict between San Jose and Fresno. There was a power struggle. And around the same time, one of the OGs that was from Fresno supposedly stole some money, violated some kind of rules or something. So another OG from Fresno, well known, everybody knows him, kind of gives him credit for starting the Bulldogs, but he actually didn't start it. He was told that he would have to whack this guy. Now them two, they were good friends since they were really young. And he tried to argue the due process issue. The dude wasn't given the due process. They just wanted him whacked. They already had killed his brother. So the OG told him, nah, he wasn't going to do it. And that was that. If they didn't like it, they didn't like it. So they accused him of stealing some money, burning them somehow, which they probably did. You know, Fresno was always they were already tired of the favoritism. So when the word started getting around that this guy was, the OG was going against the grain, word got around the system. The dudes from Fresno, they were going to go against the grain also. They were going to back his play. Now, he wasn't in agreement with the Bulldogs, but he also wasn't in a disagreement with the Bulldogs. I know he has 3 other brothers. 2 of them I did time with. They're also OGs, and they weren't too happy about his decision. They were not for the Bulldogs starting up. They weren't for going against the grain. And eventually, as time went on, they didn't like it, but they just went along with it because that's their brother. So that right there tells you that family comes first. So now, when they went and finally agreed to go along with it, and the word what was going on was going around the system, nobody knows who actually came out with it, but someone made a statement that said, you know, F it, we don't need them. We're Bulldogs. And the reason why they chose that name, not only because the college, but the college school colors are red and white. So everybody was already wearing their attire just because it was red. Bulldogs was printed on it. So the name stuck. This person that said, we don't need them, we're Bulldogs. At that time, was around the time that the Fresno State football team, they went 11-0, undefeated the whole season. So they were kind of good. So people were pumped up. You know, they represented the town. So the name stuck. But it was also still F-14. Now these guys that were OGs that I done time with, that I knew personally, they told me that Fresno will always be from the north. No matter what's going on with this split between the guys from Fresno and the guys from up north. I just put it that way. That we were always going to be from up north. We were always going to represent F-14. Bulldogs was just a, a handle, you know, because to be honest, anybody from Fresno that gets locked up, goes to the joint, goes to county jail, everybody thinks they're the shit. You know, I was always taught growing up that you got to be down for whatever comes your way, you got to be down with it. So I already had that mentality. So as time went on, and the whole system knew that Fresno was going against the grain, there was always stuff kicking off in different places with everybody else in Fresno. So the Fresno picked up the idea where there was going to be no leadership, and everyone had a voice. Of course, there were the older guys, the OGs that got respect from the younger guys, and even though they weren't considered shot callers or any leadership, we would still look up to them, and whatever they said was going to happen. But they led by example. They wouldn't send somebody to do no dirt without going with them. And that's how I carried myself also. I wouldn't tell somebody younger than me to go move on somebody, but I would tell them that I was going to do it, and whoever raised their hand to join me would join me. So the split process was in full effect. Without no leadership, everyone had an equal voice. But don't let that fool you. Everyone doesn't have an equal voice. Because if you have someone that's barely coming up, and you have people that already been down, his voice would be heard, but it won't be set in stone. And what I mean by that is if you have a group of dogs that don't want to do something or are against doing something, and you have another group that are all for it, it's going to be done. And these other guys that didn't want to do it, they'll probably get smashed on for just showing fear. Now, without this leadership, everyone kind of does whatever they want. One thing you have to know is it's kind of like a bulldog oath, is if one goes, everybody goes. Because we're outnumbered anyway. And if it cracks off, whoever doesn't jump is going to get left behind, and they're going to get smashed on by whoever the op is. Now, people don't like us, or they say that nobody likes us. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience that there are friendships that are made with the whites, skinheads, NLRs, the blacks, Bloods, Crips. And the reason why they say nobody likes us is because if something happens, all the dogs are going to jump. Now, if it carries over from prison to prison, so be it. It wouldn't matter. But if people took it for what it was, and it was just an incident that happened in one spot, obviously there was a reason behind it. So that's why you would hear nobody likes us. It's because we got into it with everybody. Up to date, we got into it with everybody out there on mainline. SNY, I don't know nothing about SNY. Never been there. None of that. So, but I do know that there is some dogs that dropped out that went SNY, which dropping out it's kind of a word made for organizations. And the dogs aren't an organization. They just quit, put it that way. They just quit. They didn't want to do it anymore. Either that or they had funny charges or they told on somebody. Whatever it may be. Because if a dog wants to hang up the gloves and decides he had enough, he wants to be a family man. When I was brought up, I was told it's okay, as long as they don't come back. So if they make that choice to be a family man and do the right thing, then they got to make that choice to change their whole life around. Because if they came back, then it was just a front and they get smashed on or removed, put it that way. So the dogs up to date got into it with everybody, every place. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now. And that's why so many people say that the dogs aren't liked. But friendships have formed, and everyone knows that it's just something that happened, except the ones that still have bitterness in their mouth. Either they're just following suit. They say they don't like us because their car don't like us, and they have to follow suit. But I'll tell you like this. People that jumped on the dogs, maybe half of them didn't really want to. It's that they have to because they are told to. And a lot of people hate the dogs because they do whatever they want. They don't answer nobody. And if they're told what to do, they're going to jump. It was made to be a resistance to oppression, to be freedom fighters. So that everyone that goes in there that wants to represent the dogs, or they want to represent themselves and are willing to fight for their freedom and willing to fight for the time they want to do. They don't want nobody telling them what to do. If they want to hustle, they don't want to break nobody off. They don't have to. They don't even know. If they want to make money, nobody's going to get a cut. Nobody's going to get a third. Now, if they want to, it's their choice. They can give somebody a third. They can give somebody a cut if they want to. But the dogs as a whole are not going to tell them that they can't. They can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to go to yard if they don't want to. They don't have to wake up at a certain time if they don't want to. They don't have to um, pay taxes if they don't want to. They don't have to listen to another grown man's orders. And people don't like them because of that. They don't like them because they have to listen to orders. They have to break off a third. They have to pay taxes. They have to pay for what they represent. And that's why they don't like us. Or that's why they don't like the dogs. I'm not going to say us. I'm retired. But I still keep in contact. I still stay informed. I got family doing time still. And so I'm still up on a lot of shit. Shit that I can care less, really. But I wanted to put it out there that that's the whole reason why people don't like the dogs, is because they don't have to follow no orders, but they're willing to fight for their freedom. These other peoples have to follow orders. With that, I'll close this out. Wish you all good health. Hope your family's in good health and safe. It's a cold world out here. Innocent people are always the ones that find that out first. And me personally, I got respect for everybody. I respect everybody because they're grown men. What they represent, they're doing what they want to do. I respect that. I respect all the dudes making content. Whether they're dropouts, S and Ys, it don't matter to me. Everybody has their own stories. Nobody knows what their story is. It could be just somebody just didn't like them and done them dirty. So to all the dudes making content, I just send my respects. I kind of got this idea just by watching your guys' stories. Everybody has good content, but you're not gonna make everybody happy. Just make those happy that want to be happy. If they don't want to listen, they can switch channels. Not you. Just do what you do. So everybody out there, stop hating on each other. This is a thing where everybody can make some money. And like I said, I'm just starting out. If I can make some money off of it, cool. If not, cool. Wouldn't make me no difference. I have a career, but I just wanted to put, a little bit of input out there so people know the truth, that it didn't start why people say it started. It was deeper than that, way before that happened. There's some other things that went on in that, since that time, like the Bulldog Nation. I know there was a video about that, and the whole story wasn't said. It wasn't put out. It wasn't 100%, but it was pretty close. So maybe I'll talk about that one next time. That one I wasn't involved in that movement, but I was involved in putting a stop to it in the county jail at that time. And it took a little bit of work. It took some dirt to be kicked up, but it was stopped. So with that being said, once again, hope everybody's in good health, everybody's family's in good health, and everybody's okay. Everybody have a good night. It's dark again. My video's always gonna be dark. I'm not one to show my face like that. I got kids. I got kids that are in the. I got kids that are out there. Put it that way. And but just be safe. Like, comment. I'll answer your comment. I'll respond. Even if I don't have an answer, I'll respond to acknowledge you. You know, I don't know if you hear the gunshots, but somebody's shooting right around the corner. So I'm gonna go inside before one flies this way. But I'll end it here. Y'all take care. Until next time, hit that little bell. Like, comment, share. Show some support. I support everybody. Maybe not financially, but with views and appreciation for those videos everybody puts out. Shout out to all the content makers. Peace.